I think I have made a breakthrough. I'm not sure what it is about sketchbooks that make them so terrifying. Maybe it's the fact that the possibilities are endless, and that's terrifying, obviously. Maybe it's the fear of messing up and not being able to recover. Sometimes it's just looking at a blank page and becoming so overwhelmed. I actually go through this more often than you would think. If you look at my shorts and most of my videos, it looks like I'm just always drawing, and I am, it's true, I do draw a lot. However, these thoughts and these feelings crop up nearly every single session. I like to think of it as, I care a lot. I don't want to be making mistakes. I want to do the best work that I can. That's perfectly normal. But at the same time, at the back of my head, I realize there's just this little voice kind of always holding me back and thinking, oh, well, what if this happens? Or, what if this doesn't look so good? And I realize I'm making this sound so much deeper than it needs to be, but I think it's a pretty common occurrence for most artists to just have all of these thoughts going through their head while they're sketching in a sketchbook. Last night, something absolutely incredible happened. I was kind of at a loss of something to do. Every member of my family were busy doing their own thing, which is great. But for me, I had a busy day and I just kind of wanted to relax and unwind, but I wasn't entirely sure what to do. I grabbed this sketchbook, which hasn't been used yet, and I decided now is the time to finally open it and see what I can do with it. You would think with starting a brand new sketchbook that I wouldn't set up everything to record it, just, why not put more pressure on myself? So no, I still decided I was going to record this, and I'm so happy that I did. So let's chat a little bit about this process. My husband actually bought this sketchbook for me. I had mentioned him that I was looking for a smaller sketchbook where I could just have fun with it, not worry too much about, anything really. And a couple of days later, he presented me with this. It's the Talon's Art Creation A5 sketchbook. It has 80 sheets of paper and it's kind of like that ivory cream colour. So my initial thinking going into this sketchbook was I'm not going to use alcohol markers in it. And the reason for that is obviously they're going to bleed through to the other side of the page. But I really just want this sketchbook to be one where I could do entire sketchbook spreads, when you open up the book and you've got an entire spread there. So I wanted to be able to do that. So I've decided that I'm going to try pretty much any other medium. So pencils, colour pencils, maybe paints, I'm not quite sure how it'll hold up, and water-based markers. I really feel like that's going to open up a lot more opportunities for me, and rather than feeling kind of restricted with my other sketchbook because I feel like I should only be using alcohol markers in them since that's what it's designed for. But anyway, back into this sketch. I obviously wanted to draw something super cute, so I went into my Pinterest and I looked up my animals tab because I have heaps of animals saved there, and immediately I knew I was going to draw some ducks. I've actually never drawn ducks before, so kind of an interesting subject matter to start a new sketchbook because I thought maybe I'd be really scared to draw in it then, but it honestly turns out to be just the best decision that I made. I wanted to keep the entire spread looking harmonious and just all kind of tied together even though all of the images are separate. So I wanted to keep the palette fairly limited. So I stuck with yellowy oranges and then kind of like the bluey purples to complement them. And obviously I had to throw in pink as well because I love pink so much. This entire spread took me about maybe 20 minutes, which is insanely quick. And honestly, my intention was just to go in with it and just have so much fun as possible. If I focus too much on the details and the time spent and my method and techniques, it's just not going to be fun at all. So I really went in with the mindset that be as loose and as messy as possible and see what happens. And I'm going to be completely honest, I just do not remember the last time that I had this much fun with a sketchbook and wasn't so worried about the end result. And in turn, I created something that I just absolutely love. When I look at it, I can actually see how much fun I had. You know, if I was really going to be critical and assess my skills here, every kind of stroke just looks quick and spontaneous, and it's something that I strive to do in all of my artwork, but I always kind of hold myself back because I have that fear of making the wrong line and just completely messing up the spread. Let's talk about what I actually used to draw this. So I started out using the Prismacolor Colorways sketching pencils. I use these to sketch for everything. It doesn't matter what book I'm going to be using, what paper I'm going to be using, I'm always going to use these to sketch. And the reason why is, one, obviously they're colored pencils that are erasable, but two, I feel like using color as a base really just kind of helps me to have more fun anyway, but to kind of visualize what the image is going to look like with color added on top. I stopped using graphite pencil to sketch a long time ago, and it was mainly because of the alcohol markers, because if you add your marker on top of pencil, most of the times it's going to smudge it and smear it. You're going to have those grey black lines, and obviously it doesn't look very good. There is a tiny amount of smudge when you do the same thing with the Colorways pencils, but nowhere near the same level. So yeah, I definitely recommend that you pick those up and use them in your sketching process if you love using colours. And for the actual colours themselves, I was using the Ohuhu water-based brush pens. I bought these a couple of months ago because I was really interested in them for their fine liner ends, and I've used those a couple of times, and I actually really enjoy just having something else other than using black fine liners. But this is the first time that I've actually really used the brush end, and as you can see, the colours are they're super vibrant. They are really easy to use. You do have to be a little bit careful though, because if you go over the same area multiple times with the marker, you are going to destroy the paper. You're going to kind of rip it, it's going to bobble up, and obviously that's due to the water in the marker. So blending is obviously out of the question, and you wouldn't really be able to do that with a water-based marker anyway. So you really need to use these for solid blocks of color, which in this case obviously worked really well because it really kind of adds to that fun style that I was going for. I also used the fine liner ends just to add a little bit of texture in there, so you can see in the feathers of the ducks that, you know, just a little something to generate some interest and texture. And then to further add some detail and texture, I used my Prismacolor Premier pencils. These are super creamy. They work on pretty much all types of paper. They are just fantastic. I think I've had mine over 10 years now. And I used to use them for realistic coloured portraits, but now I really use them in addition to my marker art, just to really kind of bring that element of interest and just to add little extra details. I really didn't want to go overboard with this because the whole point was for me to just let go, to have fun, to not put too much pressure on myself. And I truly mean it when I say, not for 1 second during this spread did I worry about the outcome at all. So welcome to the start of my fun, life-changing sketchbook. If you have any fun ideas that you think I could draw in this, please drop a comment below. I would love to try them out. I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.